10 years ago. I don't know what.
I said you were hardly known, and you say you're barely nobody.
But the point I want to make is that the list of evictees included myself. You know,
the government spokesman. You're saying you know this because you're the Senate.
I haven't concluded.
You will need to conclude quickly, but you're saying you know this because you're the Senate Majority Leader. Yet the government spokesman, whose title is quite clear, has directly contradicted you and said
he hasn't contradicted me.
Yes, he has. This is what he said.
In fact, to the contrary, he has contradicted himself.
Oh,
he
what did he say?
You remember the first time he said president ordered. The next day he came out and said, no, there is no evictions being done. People are just walking out of the forest on their own. And I wanted to put this in context because, and if you don't give me 1 minute to say this, then we'll lose the point. The point is that 10,000 people were settled in 2013, 2014. The question of Mau Trust land is not a question of land that is being occupied by people who are inside the forest. These are people who are occupying land that was degazetted, that they have titles. The reason why President Uhuru Kenyatta decided in 2013 that they were going to settle all other people except for the Mau Trust land is because they are titles. And what did the government decide? They decided they will build 15 schools. They decided they are going to grow tea along the cut line, and so that people cannot cross to the forest itself. So don't buy into this debate that the government has done nothing. The government was not supposed.
You're jumping the gun a little bit.
Government.
What we're discussing right now, no, you're jumping the gun, sir, and you're out of order. What we're discussing at the moment is whether this is in fact government policy or not. You say it is not because, hold on, because you're the majority leader, and I'm telling you that the government spokesman, whose title is quite clear, has said, quote, eviction of people from the Mau catchment area has to go on to save this country. It will happen in a humane manner, which obviously is a concern for many, and that is the government position. You went ahead even to say that K24 and the Rift Valley, right, not just in subordination, but you said, quote, are not the government. The T and the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner are not the government. We are the government.
Absolutely.
And I put it to you that not only are they the government, they are the executive arm of government with the mandate not just to create government policy but to implement it, and they would be in a better position than you, who is government but legislature, to know what the position is on the Mau.
I know the position, and that's why our children are back to school. If they were the government, the children would be out of school. So the point I'm trying to make is this. The purported removal of people from Mau Trust land.
Correct, trust land.
Exactly.
Yes.
You must not confuse it with removal of people from Mau Forest, which all of us support in government. The president, the deputy, myself, and everybody. Anybody who has gone beyond Mau Trust land must be removed from the forest. But what we are talking about is Mau Trust land, where people have titles and they bought land. And we have said, again, as leaders from that region, we have absolutely no problem with people being removed from their legitimate properties. The thing that government needs to do is to do what they do everywhere. We have paid 3 billion shillings to remove people from Thika, Kiambu here, where we are building a dam, Karumenu Dam.
Right.
We've paid 3 billion in the Tuake Dam, where people are also being removed. We paid 40 billion to provide land for building railway. So the government should just they know what to do. If they want to remove people from their properties in the Mau Trust land, which was not contested until Tobiko came to public, it's simple. Tobiko should do a cabinet memo. Tables that cabinet memo in the cabinet. It's debated by cabinet. It is approved by cabinet. Then it's moved to the legislature, which, as I told you, we are part of that government. Then it comes to legislature for budgeting, the treasury for budgeting, and to legislature for approval of that budget.
Let me ask you this way, because you've talked about, and you're right. Fair enough.
No, let's talk about what you've said. Decision to remove people from their properties.
Let's talk about what you've talked about in terms of what the process should be. And I think many can agree that there isn't that clear decision. And the question is, why has government not done that, which you're a part of? And you're saying the onus is on the cabinet secretary. But let me put it to you this way. This is a highly sensitive issue. K24 is not an upstart in government. Are you telling the country that it is believable, like that a man like this, who including has dealt with legal affairs for the government of Kenya, just woke up one day out of nowhere and decided to push the most controversial button in politics without it being sanctioned from the very highest levels of government? Remember, this included a security operation as well. Natembeya wouldn't be, working on his own. Surely this was discussed and ratified.
Where?
At the highest levels of government.
Where?
Including in the cabinet where they sit.
No, the Constitution says, let me first start. You know, there's a member of parliament who called the cabinet secretary an idiot, which I don't approve, that language. But when you are a lawyer of the magnitude of Keriako Tobiko, with the knowledge he has and the expertise he has, and you go to public and tell people title deeds are mere papers. In fact, I expected Law Society of Kenya to call Tobiko for disciplinary action, because it's a conduct and becoming of a lawyer to be able to dismiss a title deed, which is a very important document of transaction and only piece that demonstrates that person owned land. First of all, by admission of the cabinet secretary, those people have title deeds. Number two, they are not just papers. These are title deeds given by the government of Kenya, declared by President Jomo Kenyatta in 1976, and thereafter the subsequent governments. So we cannot say government itself can fight itself. Number two, the Constitution says every decision that's made by government must be in writing. And I challenge you, and I'm willing to withdraw my statement only if you show me a single paper, even a paragraph of decision of Uhuru Kenyatta's government since 2013, that people are going to be removed in Mau Trust land. There isn't any. So the onus is on the cabinet secretary to tell us where was this kangaroo meeting that did not involve the president, it didn't involve the cabinet, it didn't involve parliament, a very important institution. In fact, we want to challenge the Kenya Forest Service. Where did they get the money to carry out an operation, a purported, an attempted, which actually is not supposed to go on because the government halted it, is a purported operation in people's private land?
How come the president then has not spoken out against his cabinet secretary, who has allegedly or reportedly, according to your view, defied him? And
subordinated him. I can't speak for the president. I can only speculate that perhaps, and I'm very grateful to President Uhuru Kenyatta, because I believe it is through his intervention that people went back to their schools, which were built by the same president.
Was it through his intervention, or was it with leaders like you who told people not to move?
I think the president finally listened to the voices of the people, because there were noise all over. It was you, the media, who reported the consequences of this action on the ground. Children preparing for exams.
The president has not asked people to stay put in the area. He has made no public pronouncement on the matter. Only politicians have, like yourself, and told people to stay put.
I have only had the same regional commissioner who purported to have an information that people should be removed, going public and saying, no, we are not removing people, children should go back to school. And I'm trying to say that I suspect, because I do not know, and I hope so, that the president listened to the plight of 1,000 children who are preparing for exam, the children who are going to school. And by the way, Anne, the reason why some of us make this kind of noise, and particularly myself, having grown up as a child of a squatter,